You can see my LinkedIn ad
Yes,
screen.
yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so here we have a Canadian client called the Newcomp. Now they're already acquired by a bigger company called Converse TP. So here is the previous campaigns we did for them. So we did here mainly 3 different campaigns. Yeah. And this is the good thing in like when you do ads, it shows you the metrics on how much money is spent, how many clicks they got, the click-through rate. So click-through rate is like based on the impressions of people saw and then who clicked. And usually with LinkedIn, we can expect around this kind of percentage. It's usually below 1%. Yeah. And then it tells you also the cost per click. So usually on LinkedIn, it's a bit expensive. So here it's like almost average $10 per click, 10 Canadian. So that's like 7, 8 USD. And then we can go more because this one was a lead generation. So here we track how many leads they got and then the cost for every lead based on the clicks. So depending how many clicks, it will give you the cost. And then here it will calculate for you. So now if we dive more into like some of the campaigns. So under the first campaign, like we had different, because we do so many of them, because we always do like different audience targeting, different strategies, different images, and we always see what works best, what doesn't. So here after doing so many of them, we found out this one has been doing the best. That's
Wow.
why you see the spend is way bigger than all of the others.
Mhm.
Those one like they struggled a bit, so we had to pause them, and then we dived into more of this one. So if we check of like the targeting, here's how you can do some targeting, and the campaign of has worked based on the audience we chose. So it was here, it's just they were only targeting Canada,
Okay.
and then we had that subtitles they wanted. So they were targeting mostly like data scientist, analyst, head of IT services. And then they also had some specific industries. So they were more flexible. So they had like telecom, venture capitals, government, manufacturing, fashion. And then for the company size, they were targeting like from 51, so like smaller ones, all up to enterprise size of companies. So here was all the target for them. And usually here's it can give us the size. But right now, because it's an older account, it's not available anymore. And also in LinkedIn, the good thing you can also exclude certain audience.
Yeah.
So here like we excluded some students, cashiers, intern, because we realized we got some clicks on those kind of subtitles. And that's not like part of the audience, so we had to exclude them. And we also excluded certain like competitors and other company and some industries that didn't get any leads from. So we usually start a bit broad, and then every time we analyze demographics, we start to like exclude certain audiences. That way we only get clicks from the people who we want the most, not just from anyone.
Well, this sounds very effective. A lot of details in the ad.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of it goes into the audience research and targeting. And that's where we always optimize based on the audience. And then also sometimes we go later into the ad. So the ad is the visual, what people see. And most of them are images. And then on top of the image, we have headline and then we have intro text. And also here, that's where you put the bidding. So they were spending 150 Canadian per day. So that's like maybe 120 US, 110. And I always also, in the bidding strategy, I like to do manual because LinkedIn always likes to take your money. So I always like to manual bid, control it, and then try to always have a bid that's usually between this number or sometimes smaller. Because if you do maximum, it can even give you a click that's like very expensive, $20, $30. So we don't want to just waste money on clicks.
So what was the goal of this campaign? What you guys are
Oh,
trying to do?
yeah, it was a lead generation. So it takes users to a form on LinkedIn, and then they submit the form, and then this form goes straight to the sales team, and then the sales team can reach out to those leads by email or phone number.
Form and you want to get people emails so
Mhm.
the sales teams can reach out to them.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way we set it up. And now I will show you also how the creatives look like. So I showed you now the targeting and the research we did. And then here is when one layer below, it shows you the actual what people will see. So here's one example. And I also do like different version. So for like usually the horizontal or the square are for desktop, and then for like vertical are for mobile.
Yeah.
So we do different similar ads, but different. Like we do some A/B testing in them. Like we do some minor changes, different text, or we always try different ways of what works best in those format. Yeah. So here's the one. So here was the text for it. So that's how people will see it actually. So they will
Okay.
see the company name, they will see how many followers they have, and then they will it will so promoted. Yeah. That way people will know it's an ad and not like organic post. That's why LinkedIn has promoted under it. And then they will see the image here and then the headline. And then if they click download, that's where it takes them to the form.
Okay.
So they have to give you the phone number
Mhm.
and the email. And then this one's all pre-filled, so they don't have to fill anything for them. It's scraped from their profile, and then they click submit, and then it goes to the sales team. So that's how usually it works on LinkedIn.
Wow, this
Yeah.
is so effective.
Mhm.
It's good.
Yeah, for sure. And this one is also the same, but for mobile, where it's a vertical ad. So on mobile, it will look even nicer than here. Here, it looks a bit cut, but sometimes the preview isn't always the best.
Wow, so this is good because they can just fill out the form on LinkedIn, so they don't have
Yeah, exactly.
to leave
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
without going to, yeah. Like also there's on LinkedIn, there's another option
Mhm,
in the campaign where you can also send them to your website or a landing page.
mhm.
But usually this option has the highest conversion rate. So most of my SaaS and tech clients, I always like to have some kind of campaign as a lead gen for them.
So this is lead generation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The other one is called website conversion.
Mhm.
That's why because then they convert on your website instead of on LinkedIn itself. But usually it's a lower conversion rate.
Wow. So how do you make a LinkedIn campaign like this? How do you make them effective? What's the strategy behind this? Because you have a lot of A/B testing, a lot of campaign
Mhm.
here.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, usually on our strategy, I like to always start a little bit broad, like not too broad, like still within the audience we want.
Mhm,
But then once we run it, we go back to the like under campaign, you're able to analyze the demographics. So you want the example of like down here, you click demographics,
mhm,
and then you'll be able to analyze, and that's where so we analyze this every 3 weeks,
mhm.
and what got us the least leads, we always exclude. And when you analyze, you can always analyze in terms of like job title, function, industry, seniority, the company size. So there's always here it shows you what's most effective. Yeah. And I usually like to see the completion rate. So like anything below like 7%, I like to exclude if they also got some form open. So
Mhm,
that's one way of like optimizing the campaigns.
mhm,
And this is only for one campaign. So I usually do this for all the active campaigns on every 2, 3 weeks.
mhm.
And then I also analyze the ads, the same idea on like look what kind of ads got the best leads and what didn't work very well. Because that's a good thing on the ad platform. They
Mhm.
always give you metrics.
Yes.
So the metrics will help you analyze what's working best. So here's the same thing. Every ad will tell you how much it spent, how many leads it got, and then that's how I analyze and see if I pause anything. So this one had the best cost per lead, I guess. It was $93. Like comparing to other ads, this one was more expensive. So like this one was most, so this one I would pause the first. Maybe this one, keep my eyes on it. If it's gonna also be above 200, then pause it. And then what we do is for like the winning ad,
Mhm,
we duplicate it again and then we try different text on it or change a bit and
mhm.
then see if we can also get maybe better results or at least reduce audience fatigue because we don't want the same people to keep seeing the same ad and getting bored from it.
Right.
So it's always good to be a little bit creative. So with them, something a bit different, maybe different colors,
Mhm.
different text, different headline or call to action. So that's like the way to have a good, successful campaign.
So in the beginning, the company give you a budget. They say, hey, we have this budget for marketing and we wanna, let's say we're looking to get 100 people or 1,000 people. Is that what they give you as target?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. Usually I always ask questions. So I ask them about their budget, about their competitors, like what kind of audience they want to target.
Mhm.
So once I have all the information, I then use it to start building campaigns, doing research on what is actually found on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Because sometimes they might give me certain industries or certain job titles that may not be found on LinkedIn.
Right.
So I always have to make sure everything they gave me is already found. And then I tell them like maybe we can try first 2 or 3 campaigns And then because it's daily budget, so I tell them like if you want to spend $5,000 a month, so we should do $50 a year, another 50 here, or $100 here, and then we always like see which campaign to put less or to pause, and which campaign we should add more per day to spend. Because the more we spend, the more clicks we get, and the more clicks we get, the more leads we can get, and we keep doing this like for different campaigns and always like expanding on how we can maybe even increase the budget.
So I see for one campaign, it's gonna take multiple ads actually. So
Yeah, exactly.
not just one campaign, one ad. You start by running some ad just to test, and then you post those ads, you get the results, you improve those. So it's like a really like a living thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You always want to try different ads within the same campaign because you don't want to make people bored, and at the same time you want to see what works best. So I would recommend at least 5 ads, but it also depends on the budget. So even if the budget is bigger, you can even do like 10 ads, that way it can split evenly for those certain ads. Yeah, and sometimes even different landing pages, like we can do an A/B test on a landing page. Maybe one landing page has different way of call to action or different way of describing something. So there's always lots of testing to be done.
So for someone